We had an early phase investigation. It wasn't a standard document review project. It was basically an internal investigation for one of our clients. And we started out with about 325 gigabytes of data, which correlated to about 2.3 million documents. That data set, if we were to process that in a regular linear review, would have cost the client millions of dollars to do a standard review. So we chose to utilize the EDT analyst tool to perform an early case assessment on the data, which allowed us to bring the data in, get a quick peek at exactly what was in there, run specific searches on the data. The ECA tool, the EDT, was fantastic. It was able to run searches on that data as well, and it provided us, with a breakdown of what exactly we were looking at, and allowed us to develop a strategy to attack the data. Once we finished our initial searching of the data, we culled it down to about 93%, which was about 150,000 documents. That's what we ended up actually reviewing in the platform, versus the standard 2.3 million documents, which we would have, if we would have done a standard review. That's what we've been looking at. And we had a pretty extensive search list that we applied to it, and it was basically a 66% call down rate off of the original data set that we cost savings that we saved the client, basically. I mean, the cost savings for us was basically when in a standard review, we provide the data to our vendor, we provide search terms, and then that data gets loaded up to some type of platform, document review platform, and that rate is very expensive, as everyone knows. It could be $200, $300, $375 a gig. At that point, when we realized that we could basically do our initial ECA in EDT and pass the data set over to the review platform within EDT, we had a huge cost savings, and we were able to cull the data set down, like as I mentioned, about 93% of the material was culled out, and we saved the clients a ton of money in that process. Normally, when we would have run our process, if we didn't approach it using EDT, we would have applied deduplication to the data, and we would have applied basically roughly a set of search terms to the data set, and then reviewed it that way in a linear method. It's at the most, I would say we would have culled about 60% of the data out. That's on an average, versus the 93% that we experienced using the EDT model.